Poor people have poor ways. Hello and welcome to the Durham Talents channel. My name is Jesse Durham. For today's installment of our quote series, we're discussing the quote, "Poor people have poor ways." Now, it's very easy to start with R. Nelson Nash's Average American and just see how most people have a spending pattern where, sure, a certain amount is going towards vehicles, a certain amount is going towards housing, a certain amount is going towards living expenses, and maybe that changes over the course of time. But what we see is that the volume of interest is a very big point that Nash is trying to make about the average American spending pattern. We're paying so much, such a great percentage. He says 30-something% of every dollar that we earn in interest by conventionally financing. Now, I would also point out that he is very generous in showing a 10% savings amount for the example that I'm giving here. And I believe that we could also discern that it's probably not the case that most people are saving 10% or so either from what they're earning. So again, we're seeing some habits here, perhaps some known and some unknown. I'd never taken the same look at the interest dollars that I had paid prior to reading Nash's book and prior to owning policies that I use for my need for finance now, building a system of policies for what it is that we do. And we were paying out interest dollars on vehicles and college educations and all different sorts of things, vacations that we were taking and much more. So some things, sure, it could be said that we're born into, we are conditioned to do things a certain way. But again, I believe that when we know better, we can do better. And in fact, Nash says that when you know what's going on, you'll know what to do. So once we realize that we should be capitalizing for ourselves, that it is a good thing to save, the question, of course, is, well, where do we put our capital? Who has control? What fees may we or may not be paying on that? What penalties will there be? What restrictions to access? And all these other variables that we should consider. And yet, in general, let's make a blanket statement that it is good to be well capitalized. There's never a time, now or in the future, when we would like to be undercapitalized. That's not the case. Not as a household, nor as a business. Any business that is not capitalized, any business that doesn't have access to capital, is going to go out of business. So it's a good thing to capitalize ourselves. So I believe it's worth noting how Nash describes the average American, and that's worth reading in his book, Becoming Your Own Banker. You know, even Jesus himself said that the poor you will have with you always. I think it's a valid question to ask, well, why is that? Why is that? Based off of the things that we may know and also the things that we may not know. You know, because Nash is writing a book about whole life insurance, he has to point out that a lot of times, almost always, even down to the home office personnel of the same companies that we would even be encouraging you to consider buying policies from, their understanding of life insurance is based off of someone else's misunderstanding of life insurance. So when thinking about poor people having poor ways, is that true? I mean, again, this is a saying. I enjoy evaluating common sayings. That's why we have this quote series, because our words carry meaning. Our words carry thoughts, and actions are implemented because of the things that we think. Words are powerful. So when we say these sayings, I think it's worthwhile asking, well, is that true? How do we know that's true? And if that's true, what may we want to consider doing or changing or adapting or evolving to improve on what it is that we're already doing? Well, if you'd like to have a conversation about how you can implement the infinite banking concept into your life, your household, or your business, you can reach me at 828-817-4223, or you can email durhamtalents@gmail.com. This has been a great pleasure for me. I look forward to our next conversation. Have a great day. Take care. Arms for the poor, Arms for the poor. Is that the melodious voice of the sheriff I be hearing? Name that movie. 12 o'clock and all's well. Criminally, Trigger, put that pea shooter down.